2015 was not just another year in K-pop. It marked the beginning of a new chapter, one written by 13 boys who defied the odds, pushed past limitations, and redefined what it meant to debut. This is the story of how 17 was born, the first self-producing idol group in K-pop history. Before 17 had a stage, they had a camera. From 2013 to 2015, a live stream called 17 TV became the only way to promote themselves before debut. Pledis promoted it as a reality show, but in truth, it was just a single security camera pointed at their practice room and few vlogs. No scripts, no edits, just raw, unfiltered life. For 2 whole years, fans watched these boys train, laugh, mess around, argue, and grow. At first, most people didn't even know their names, so fans gave them nicknames like Mr. Beanie or Tall Guy, just to tell them apart. But slowly, as episodes passed, the trainees began introducing themselves one by one. That's part of what made 17 TV so special. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't polished, it was real. They weren't trying to be idols, they were just boys, having fun while chasing a dream. Their practice room felt like a second home, and for many fans, tuning into 17 TV became a comforting daily habit, like background noise after school or work. Just like how mukbangs later became a way to fight loneliness, 17 TV gave people something to connect with. 13 kids who felt like friends. What made it even more interactive was the way fans shaped the content. The boys would read live comments and choose which songs to cover based on fan requests. They performed little recitals, called fans on the phone to talk with them directly, and even invited those who were watching the stream to come visit the practice room and watch them live. Even before debut, the talent was undeniable. With every dance practice, every harmony, every freestyle rap, they showed their potential as not just trainees, but future stars. These weren't just random kids. They were high-quality performers already.
Set my loads on. I was in my head and in my head, Superman. I know I got it. I know she own it. I know you see it. I know she want it. She got that Cali good, and she got it good. She got me policing and wishing that a nigga would. This little mama got a back ride. She be skating on it, got a nigga singing flashlight. He tryna get her, but she holding on hella tight. I got that act right, that's what she like. I get it in. I get it in, I get it in, I get it in again, I get it in, I get it in, I get it in, I get it in.
Tennis shoes, Farrakhan, Louis V, Carrier, Gucci mine, Gucci girl, panties, she ain't wearing none. Don't want me to buy none, man, she the fire. Down the broke her neck when she see me with a Mario. Double take, let's go have a triple down. Me, you ain't no choice, you be with y'all, think y'all can handle it. Private jet kisses, Shanghai, Bangkok, we overseas tripping. Pinocchio, your nose a bro, I'm smoking, Joe in Tokyo. A trouble, but this rapping got me going, plus you never go.
I get it in, I get it in, I get it in.
그대여 너와 함께 해줘 이 봄이 가기 전에
Already got one rolling through my left hand. Pussy on my mind, tighter than the head strand. Then the next strand, better than the next strand. She head down, booty popping in the handstand. Backstand bright eyed, give your girl a slight tan. I make that pussy whistle like the Old Spice man. I don't even understand why she ever want a man. If she ever throw it, I catch it like a Coney bag. Like a Coney bag, that's an interception. Interception, you think I give a fuck? That's a misconception. Oh what a night, oh what a night. The roof is on fire, so what? I'm high. I say, oh what a night, oh what a night. Yeah, she a bad bitch. All the bitches are.
can do it all, and it ain't no problem. Ain't nobody better than that nigga fuck the law. Bitch, I go hard, I'm ballin' like no try. I'm flow up, my nigga, I'm gonna start with it. It's up, I do this. I turn this straight prove it, since we do this. I be on that new shit, and I'm doing that with the bitches we went to school with.
Cause I'm drunk.
Yeah. Okay. 125, living the fucking life. White America said I be doing 25 a night. Just for that, I'm gonna blow 25 a night. You make 25 a year, I make 25 a night. Whoa.
It's like work, it's like work. Come on, drink, the right work. It's like work, like work. Come on, drink, the right work. Work, 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 yeah, let's go.
I threw a wish in the well. Don't ask me, I'll never tell. I looked to you as it fell, and now you're in my way. I trade my soul for a wish, pennies and dimes for a kiss. I wasn't looking for this, but now you're in my wake. Your stare was holding, ripped jeans, skin was showing. Hot night, wind was blowing. Where you think you're going, baby? Hey, I just met you, and this is crazy, but here's my number, so come.
지금 너도 있어 뭐하니 지금 날 보고 있어 뭐하니 바라보는 내가 느껴지지 않니 하고픈 말은 다 내가 미안하단 말도 내가 자꾸 어쩌봐 바로 여기가 네가 있어야 할 여보세요 바보니 어디서 뭘 하는지 걱정되니까 여보세요 왜 아무 말 못하니 여보세요 널 보고 싶었어 비가 오니까 내리니까 너 하겠던 거리를 걷다 보니까 So beautiful my girl you are our girl you are our girl 시간이 지나도 그것보다 내가 더 너를 만나기 때마다 어디다 지내 너 너에게 어디다 지금보다 내가 더 너를 사랑할게 my girl you my girl you
Say it. What else? Shake down. Say it. Say it. It's all getting Red gas, babe. I'm getting. Huh? Yeah, every day I hustle, every day I'm getting money. If I good, then every day I'm spending money. Throw it in the bag, throw it in the bag. I ain't got credit, but your dog got cash. Money, money, money. Stay out of my lane. Your team running laps, my team run the game. This is America, ain't free. I need my money tall, at least 6'3". Blacka, blacka, blacka. Money, money, money. Any given day I'm pouring honey on your honey, and I murder everybody. Okay, everybody say it. Money, money, money. If you broke, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay. My girls in cars, both skirt off. I like the pussy slow with that I can surf off. In a hot spot, cause a nigga never chillin'. Do it for my niggas, I just do it to these bitches. Boy, I override, overshine. Ain't another nigga overshine. I'm getting paid this overtime. I'm overpine, I'm so divine. I'm west side, dark glasses on like I'm going blind. Looking like Easy E, it's just me and Lil Weezy. We get on my thing. Yeah, my homie still. My homie still. Yeah, my homie still. Don't make my goals go stupid. Go stupid. Go stupid. Go stupid. Go stupid. Go stupid.
마무리 깔끔하게 합시다. 다시 한번 하나 둘 셋.
You can still find pre-debut songs stored on their iCloud accounts, original tracks they wrote and composed for 17 TV, separate from their many covers, and then came the finale. Pledis held a special event called the Ring Ceremony. In a symbolic moment, the CEO presented the members with silver rings, marking them as the official debut team. But it wasn't a guaranteed promise. In May 2015, 17's fate would be decided again, this time under the national spotlight. Seventeen Project, debut big plan, premiered on MBC, one of South Korea's biggest broadcasting networks, in collaboration with Mnet and Pledis. For any rookie group, being featured on NBC meant massive visibility. This wasn't just another online stream, this was national television. But excitement quickly turned into disappointment. Instead of being welcomed as a debut-ready group, the members were told they had to prove themselves again. The rings they had cherished from 17 TV, their first symbols of hope, were taken away.
어땠어? 뭐 했는데 얘기해봐.
일단 공연 이때까지 공연했던 단체 안무도 노래 틀어서 해봤는데 저희 다 까먹었더라고요.
재밌게 했다며?
네, 신났습니다. 네, 재밌었습니다.
근데 그렇게 무대를 엉망으로 했대? 얘기 들어봤는데? 그렇게 오래 준비해놓고 그렇게밖에 못해?
아닙니다.
어?
아닙니다.
일단 너희들한테 보여줄 게 있으니까
네.
영상부터 보자.
네.
세븐틴 보컬 팀 리더로 유명합니다. 세븐틴 퍼포먼스 팀의 리더로 유명합니다. 축하드립니다. 지금까지 잘 왔다고 생각되고 또 잘 준비되고 있다는 자신감도 생기고 새로운 걸 이루는 힘이 됐으면 좋겠습니다.
하나, 둘, 셋. 감사합니다.
기억나?
네.
어땠어?
굉장히 벅차올랐던 날이었던 것 같습니다. 기억에. 그 대표님 말씀 들으면서 진짜 책임감을 느꼈던 날이었던 것 같습니다.
우진은 어땠어?
영상을 다시 보니까 또 짠하기도 하고 너무 기억에 남는 순간이었던 것 같습니다.
호시는?
그때 진짜 우리가 가족이 됐구나라는 그런 마음도 있어서 너무 기뻤고 앞으로 이제 우리 꿈이 이루어진다는 게 너무 좋았던 것 같습니다.
네가 제일 많이 틀렸다던데? 제일 많이 틀리고 당황해하고 그랬다던데?
저희가 처음 여기 왔을 때 갑자기 안무를 이제 했잖아요. 했던 안무들. 근데 이렇게 잘 소화해내지 못했잖아요. 멤버들한테 너무 미안했어요. 왜냐면은 제가 퍼포먼스 팀 리더로서 제 역할을 하지 못한 거잖아요. 그러고 이제 너무 창피하고.
안무 거의 다 네가 한 거 아니야?
네.
근데 왜 이렇게 헤매? 욕심만 앞선 거 아니야, 니네들? 아티스트가 되려는 건지 아니면 데뷔를 하려고 하는지 잘 모르겠다, 니네. 오늘 하는 거 보면. 데뷔하려고 준비했어요, 지금까지?
아닙니다.
데뷔만 하면 다 돼? 그러면? 뭐가 이루어져? 좋은 음악을, 좋은 퍼포먼스를 보여주려면 준비가 제대로 돼 있어야지. 그냥 데뷔만 한다고 뭐가 달라져? 우리끼리 잔치하는 것도 아니고. 니네한테는 검증이 더 필요한 것 같아. 우리 아직 준비가 됐다는 걸 대중에게 검증받아야 될 시기라고 생각이 들기 때문에 반지를 다 빼서 그 보관함에 넣어놔. 지금.
저희 가족의 증표, 플레디스 세븐틴이라는 가족과 그리고 저희가 맺은 약속의 증표, 그만큼 의미 있는 반지입니다. 우리 회사 식구들, 멤버들, 대표님, 부사장님, 가족이라고 증명할 수 있는 가족 증명서 같은 거.
(4년간) 제가 연습을 했거든요. 4년간 학창 시절까지 포기해가면서 추억들과 안 좋은 일들 이렇게 많이 쌓였는데 이제 오늘 갑자기 이렇게 다시 반납하게 되니까 기분이 너무 안 좋았어요.
미션이 있을 거야. 니네 힘으로 한번 만들어봐.
네.
니네 힘으로 다시 그 반지를 가져갔으면 좋겠고 꼭 다시 돌려주고 싶거든, 나도.
네.
열심히 좀 해봐.
네.
프로페셔널 해지려고 하는 거잖아, 지금까지 하는 게.
네.
그냥 연습생이 아니잖아, 지금.
네.
알았지?
네.
이상.
소중하게 생각했던 그 반지를 뺏긴 순간 기분이 어때요?
이걸로 인해서 애들이 다시 뭔가 힘이 빠지고 그럴까봐 걱정이 됐고요. 두 번째는 항상 저희가 공연이나 이런 것들을 할 때 언제나 이렇게 갑작스럽게 문제들이 닥쳤었거든요. 그럴 때마다 멤버들끼리 힘을 합쳐서 하나하나 풀어갔던 게 생각이 나서 잘해 나갈 수 있다고 생각이 들어서 반지 찾아오면 된다고 생각을 했어요. 그냥. 찾아오면 되잖아.
네.
걱정할 필요 없어.
찾아오면 되지. 어쨌든 우리 미션 그냥 다 클리어할 거였잖아. 생방송 무대 때문에. 그지?
해야죠.
잠시 반지 쉬게 해준다 생각해. 아, 대표님이 오실 줄 몰라.
쉽진 않겠지만
우울하게 있을 필요도 없어.
아직까지도 근데 미션을 하나도 안 알려주셨어.
그 미션 1, 뭐든 그냥 하면
솔직히 멘붕이었어요. 이렇게 반지를 뺏겼구나. 약간 이 반지의 소중함을 그때도 깨달았던 것 같아요. 손에 반지가 없으니까 뭔가 허탈하고 모든 걸 다 잃은 것 같고 이렇게 무너졌어요.
They would have to earn them back by completing a series of missions that tested their skills, teamwork, and stage presence. Only if they passed all challenges would they be allowed to debut as 17 and reclaim their rings. Over the course of 7 intense episodes, the boys poured everything they had into their music. They didn't just perform, they created. They composed, choreographed, and prepared everything themselves.
노프라블에서 이미 충분한 시간 들어갈 때 숨 잘 쉬고. 네, 알겠습니다. 이거 맨 처음 톤 들어갈 때 톤 잡고 들어가. 뭐 느낌은 나쁘진 않은데 지금 콧소리가 약간 이렇게 섞여가지고 그 발음도 할 때마다
분명.
고!
편하게 돼 우리 단단한 밈 만들어내가는 기막히니 좋아 보면 너도 좋아할 거야 분명 내가 눈에 띄면 엄지들 것부터
그러니까 너무 한 톤이야 그냥 까나나나나나나나 너무 그냥
오케이 좋아 보면 너도 좋아할 거야 분명 내가 눈에 띄면 엄지들 것부터
나이스
우지가 곡을 쓴 지 이제 한 1년 정도 돼가는 것 같아요. 굉장히 센스가 있고 나이대에 비해서는 일단 정말 잘하는 거고 이번 데뷔를 하면서 이제 프로 작곡가로도 이제 데뷔를 하게 되는 건데 우지가 중간에 지치지 않고 계속 배워 나간다면 정말 훌륭한 대한민국 음악계를 이끌 수 있는 프로듀서로 성장할 수 있지 않을까 하는 기대를 걸어봅니다.
뒤에 있는 사람들은 앞사람 머리 아이스크림도 찌추가
안무를 짜면서 제일 힘든 점이 뭐예요?
이제 대중분들 앞에 나왔을 때 대중분들이 이 안무나 이런 퍼포먼스를 우리 세븐틴의 이야기가 전달이 되지 못하면은 12명의 멤버들한테도 미안한 게 또 있고 그만큼 책임감도 있고 그래서 항상 생각을 많이 하는 것 같아요. 안무 짤 때는.
자, 할게. 성민아 너 여기 알아? 아니요. 너 몰라? 이쪽 알고 있어. 여기 하나. 낼 때 일어났다가 네. 다려봤다. 체인지하고 앉아. 체인지. 이해됐어? 네. 오케이.
제가 수술해가지고 안무를 못 맞춰가지고 좀 미안했어요. 그때 다 새벽까지 남아서 저희 멤버들도 다 같이 남아서 하는데 그때 딱 못 맞춘 거예요. 그래가지고 멤버들이 빨리 안무 배워가지고 최대한 피해 안 가게끔 해야겠다라고 생각해서 부담보다는 진짜 더 열심히 하겠다라는 생각을 한 것 같아요.
하고 여기서 원래는 우리가 이 반지가 없는데 우리가 반지 이렇게 하고 반지 치고 뭐 이렇게 해서 정면을 찔렀잖아. 우리가 앞 사람들은 사선을 찔렀어. 사선을 찔러주면은 찔러주고 뒤에 사람들은 그 사람이 어깨를 잡는 거야. 하고 휴지 보듯이 있어요. 오.
휴지 이렇게 뽑다가 괜찮은데? 하고 이렇게 뽑는 것도 있고 그냥 즉흥으로 이렇게 자꾸 생각나요.
Once again, their passion and talent shone through Despite the pressure, despite the uncertainty, they showed the world they were more than just trainees. They were ready.
Let's do this. SBT, do it now. Can you follow me? Yes, SBT, pick it up. You'll never catch me. Oh, check it. SBT, do it now. Can
그 시간 속에 더 내려가 더 내려가 또 내려가 우린 더 내려가 또 내려가 이 시간 속에 더 내려가 더 내려가 또 내려가 Yeah, oh my god, yeah, oh my god Oh my god, oh my god Yeah, oh my god, yeah, oh my god Oh my god, oh my god Yeah baby, 목이 말라가면 물을 찾듯이 Baby call me, yeah right now Yeah baby, 허기가 질 때쯤 널 찾아갈게 Yeah right now 웃어주겠니 Hey girl 여기 hello hello 살며시 널 보면 감춰온 두 손을 꺼내고 웃으며 hello hello 맑은 하늘 아래 이제야 내게 말을 건네 Yeah, oh baby yeah I want to say hello I want to say hello with you 너 everywhere 너는 재미없어 여기서 네 모든 게 no fun You can give me what I want 너 everywhere 이미 다 질렸어 여기서 네 모든 게 no fun You can give me what I want
The final episode aired on May 26, 2015, their official debut day. In front of a live audience and their families, 17 performed 2 songs. The first was Shining Diamond, a pre-debut anthem co-written by Woozi, Escuz, and Vernon. The performance began with Jun's iconic line, more than just a lyric, it was a message. To be a 17 fan is to be welcomed into the Diamond life, a symbol of luxury, excellence, and earned value. Just like diamonds are formed under intense pressure, 17 was molded by years of tireless training, sacrifice, and hope. They weren't presented as born geniuses. They were artists who had built themselves from the ground up. And then, the final surprise. Their rings were returned, but this time, not by the CEO. This time, they were handed back by the most important people of all.
프로젝트 하느라고 수고 많았고 제한된 시간에 무대, 녹음 뭐 등등 하느라고 너무 고생이 많았던 것 같아. 잘했던 것 같아. 무대에서 빛나는 너희들의 모습을 보니 나도 좋았고 프로젝트 처음 시작할 때 너희들 손으로 너희들 힘으로 이 반지를 찾아갔으면 좋겠다고 생각했고 나도 돌려주고 싶어. 그런데 내가 이런 말을 하게 될 줄은 몰랐어. 나한테는 반지가 없다. 뒤를 돌아. 뭐야. 우와. 우와.
Angels sing to me these words, and
Sometimes in your eyes, I see the beauty in the world. Oh, now I'm floating so high. I blossom and die, send you storm, and you lightning to strike. You're between the eyes.
In that moment, 17 was not just a group, they were sons, brothers, dreamers, and finally, artists. It wasn't just a debut anymore, it was the birth of 17.
자, 그리고 이제 원래 제가 말씀을 드리고 싶은 거는 세븐틴 멤버들은 그 많은 미션을 했는데 저희는 한 번도 미션 클리어했다, 뭐 검증 뭐 됐다라고 말씀드린 적 한 번도 없어요. 그거는 왜 그랬냐면 미션의 실패를 두고 저희가 검증한 게 아니라 그 미션을 통해서 배워나가고 깨달아 나가고 그다음에 화합이 되고 그런 단합된 모습 그런 게 보고 싶었고 앞으로 이제 데뷔를 해서 스타가 되면 많은 일들이 있을 겁니다. 그 일들을 대비해서 저희가 첫 번째 미션부터 지금까지 온 거예요. 모든 미션은 여러분들이 아주 잘 해내셔가지고 저희 제작진들은 너무나도 감사합니다. 네, 앞으로도 뭐 계속 성장하는 세븐틴 되시길 바라고요. 옆에 있는 가족분들 한번 안아주세요. 사랑한다고. 그리고 우리 반지 되찾았죠? 네. 네. 우리 이대로 갈 순 없잖아요. 그렇죠? 마지막 미션입니다.
부모님의 마음을 사로잡아라.
그렇죠. 부모님과 가족들 앞에서 저희 샤이닝 다이먼즈 반지 낀채로 한번 해볼까요?
좋습니다. 네. 파이팅. 파이팅 합시다. 오랜만에 봅니다. 반지 끼고. 반지 파이팅이다.
진짜 예상도 못했다.
진짜 최고의 무대를 만드시네. 예. 좋아. 웃어야지. 하나, 둘, 셋. 웃어야지. 예. 웃어야지. 고. 이틀 전에 어버이날이었잖아. 우리 절 한번 드릴까? 한잔 한번 드립시다. 한잔 드리자. 모이게 해주셔서 너무 감사합니다. 저희 절 한번 올리겠습니다. 가자. 사랑합니다.
사랑합니다.
진짜 대성공이에요, 진짜. 진짜 이런 기회 주셔서 정말 감사합니다.
수고했어요, 우리 아들.
아들 고생했어. 사람 좀 해줘.
야, 우리 그거 하자. 나중에 누가 변하면 여기 속초 다시 와서 여기 던지자. 좋다.
세븐틴. 예. 대박 나자. 예. 대박. 야, 우리는 반갑습니다.
Remember how 17 performed 2 songs on their debut stage? We've talked about Shining Diamond, their symbolic pre-debut track. But the second song they performed that day was Adore You, their official debut single. To tell the story of Adore You, though, we need to go back before debut. Right after 17 Project ended, Pledis dropped a teaser. Yeah, that was their original debut concept. Back then, the K-pop scene, especially among male groups, was ruled by darker, edgier concepts.
Wow, fantastic, baby.
Everyone wanted to look tough, emotionally heavy, intimidating. So naturally, Pledis thought, let's follow the trend. But if you had been watching 17 TV or 17 Project, you'd know that was not who 17 really was. They were not born to be brooding. They were joyful, energetic, bright, and most of all, authentic. So at the last minute, Pledis reconsidered. They turned to the members and asked, what if you made the music yourselves? It was not a random idea. Pledis had originally planned to hire an outside producer to craft 17's debut, Reimer, the CEO of Brand New Music. Reimer was invited to one of the 17 TV performances. What he saw blew him away. They were just trainees, he later recalled, but in that tiny room they created an entire performance. Lights, music, choreography, on their own. I couldn't believe it. My hands just clapped on their own. So instead of taking control, Reimer offered something else. Guidance. He invited 17 to his company to work with his producers. When he heard the members' own compositions, especially from Woozi, he was floored. They're so good, he told Pledis. You could release an entire album just with their songs, and that's exactly what happened. Pledis knew they didn't have the resources to create a massive debut from scratch, so instead, they handed the reins to the members. 17 would self-produce everything. Not just music, but choreography, concept, performance, music video. Of course, they weren't entirely alone. They worked closely with performance director Eileen and producer Bumzu, who had seen their raw potential on 17 TV. Bumzu became a mentor to Woozi, guiding him in songwriting and production. To this day, Woozi remains 17's main producer. It had never been done before. Yes, some groups contributed to writing lyrics or choreography, but never in K-pop history had a group been in charge of everything, from start to finish. And that's how Adore You was born. And this creative spark had roots. Long before 17 debuted, There were idol pioneers who paved the way for artists to take creative control over their music. Second-generation idols like G-Dragon of Big Bang, often referred to as the king of K-pop, broke industry norms by writing and producing his group's hits. G-Dragon wasn't just an idol. He was a genius-level composer who started young and shattered stereotypes. He became a huge inspiration for many 17 members during their trainee days. G-Dragon proved that idols could be creators, not just performers. His legacy inspired not only 17, but the entire new generation. Other idols like Zico from Block B, Dongwoo from Infinite, Dongwon from Beast also contributed heavily to their group's music. Also, artists of the K-hip-hop scene, like Epic High and Tiger JK, showed that creative independence was possible in the Korean music scene. The members admired these role models and wanted to follow in their footsteps. They even went further. Vernon edited the Adore You music video. Mingyu directed it. Hoshi choreographed much of the dance with guidance from Haelim. Dino, the youngest member, was the one who taught the choreography to all the members. The performance unit designed their routines. The vocal unit created ballad and a cappella versions of 17 songs to reach a broader audience. The hip-hop unit worked on lyrics and flow, constantly sharpening their skills. The members were involved in every detail. They participated in comeback planning, helped design their merchandise, and directly engaged with fans. Seungkwan, in particular, went above and beyond. He personally contacted variety show producers to ask for chances to promote 17. His charisma and comedic timing caught people's attention, and many fans discovered 17 through his variety show appearances. Even now, the group credits Seungkwan's relentless promotion as a major reason for their early popularity. Their international members also played crucial roles. Joshua and Vernon worked hard to communicate with English-speaking fans, while Jun and the 8 made sure to connect with Chinese fans through native apps and platforms. This helped 17 build a global fan base right from the start. That's why 17 became known as the first self-producing idol group in K-pop.
작사, 작곡, 퍼포먼스 한 땀 한 땀 간행수고하는 장인들인데요. 자, 국내 유일 자체 제작돌 세븐틴!
But that title came with a price. In recent interviews, the members admitted they never planned to become a self-producing group. They were pushed into it. If they wanted to debut at all, they had to take charge. They felt cornered by their agency, so they stepped up.
본인이 생각하는 프로듀서로서의 우지는 어떤 사람이에요?
막 그렇게 얘기해 주니까 엄청 대단한 것처럼 막 이렇게 느껴지지만 저는 솔직히 진짜 거짓말 안 하고 아직까지도 그 프로듀서라는 명칭이 너무 부담스러워요.
왜요? 제작하고 있는데 프로듀서지.
어떤 의미로 부담스럽냐면은 그냥 이런 생각이 있어요. 애초에 이 팀의 프로듀서를 하려고 했던 사람조차 아니고 난 이 세븐틴이라는 팀의 한 멤버일 뿐이야. 각자 잘하는 것이 있고 각자 보여줄 수 있는 위치가 있고 각자의 무기가 다 다르다고 생각하는데 그중에 나는 이것이 뿐인 거고 그렇기 때문에 이렇게 멤버들을 뒤에서 서포트해주고 멤버들을 더 빛나게 만들려고 노력해왔고 함께 있는 팀의 일원일 뿐이지 이 프로듀서 이런 일에 뭔가 야 이거 멋있는 느낌인데 이렇게 생각해 본 적이 없어요 진짜로. 맨 처음에 데뷔하는데 회사에서 이제 자체 제작돌 이렇게 기사 나가야 되냐고 팀 이름이 나 너무 부담스럽다. 그냥 아니 우리 좋아하시는 분들 중에 아시게 되면 이거 멤버가 쓴 거구나 아시게 되지 않을까? 난 이걸 왜 이렇게 떠벌리고 다녀야 되는지 모르겠다.
그럴 수 있지.
근데 이제 회사에서 이게 뭐 너무 그렇게 과하지 않도록 잘 조절해 보겠다 하고서 지금 9년 차인데 계속 자체 제작돌로.
Adore You was the perfect debut track. Catchy, lighthearted, and full of youthful charm, the song captured the feeling of falling in love for the first time. Sweet, awkward, and unforgettable. Its message was clear. 17 was not trying to be someone else. They were just being themselves. Their debut music video reached 900,000 views in its first week, an impressive feat for a group with no major promotions or funding behind them. But still, Pledis made a crucial mistake. Due to poor planning and tight budgets, they delayed all fan events until the second week of promotions, an unusual and risky move. Because of this, 17 Carat sold only 1,600 copies in its first week. But things started to change. The energy was contagious. Their vibe was different. While most boy groups in 2015 leaned into dark, edgy, and intense concepts, 17 showed up with bright colors, funky moves, and fun. And indeed, the music video was the definition of I've got $5 and a dream. Green screen, dollar store props, and pure charisma. 3 days after their debut stage, their first mini-album, 17 Carat, dropped. 5 tracks co-written and co-produced by the members. Its concept? The passion of boys. By the end of their first month, 17 Carat had sold over 19,000 copies, becoming the highest-selling debut album of the year by a rookie group. So what made 17 so special? They debuted not only as a full group, but also divided into 3 specialized units: hip-hop unit, vocal unit, and performance unit. 13 members might seem like a lot, but it was actually their biggest strength. But wait, why is their name 17 if they only have 13 members? Well, the original plan was to debut 17 members, but as some trainees left and others joined, they ended up debuting with 13. So why not change the name? Simple. Pledis did not want to spend money. They had already branded the pre-debut series as 17 TV, and the members wore customized shirts with the number 17 printed on them. Ordering new shirts every time a member left or joined, too expensive, so they kept the name and came up with a new meaning later.
사실 저희가 세븐틴이라고 하면 17명이라고 오해하시는 분들이 계세요. 하지만 저희 진짜 팀 의미는 13명의 멤버와 그리고 3개의 유닛 그리고 하나의 팀에서 13 더하기 3 더하기 1은 세븐틴. 그래서 저희가 세븐틴입니다.
네,
Their size allowed them to do things no other group could. Dynamic choreography, simultaneous promotional activities, and music that highlighted each member's strengths. But this advantage was also their biggest early obstacle. Many casual K-pop fans were intimidated. 13 members? That's too many to learn. Worse, Pledis Entertainment was struggling. Already known for mismanaging talented groups like After School and New West, the company had limited resources and a lot on its plate. When 17 debuted, Pledis was operating out of a 2-story house, already housing multiple groups. They were planning to move into a new building, so nearly all available funding went toward that move, and the 17 Project reality show. That left 17 with, well, almost nothing. 1 meal a day. Parents had to send extra food just so the boys could eat properly. Tiny dorms, and only 1 van for 13 people. To attend music shows, one group of members had to wake up hours earlier, take the van, and then send it back to pick up the others. Sometimes they had to pay for taxis out of their own pocket. Other times, managers used their personal cars to get them to schedules. There wasn't even enough money for in-ear monitors, essential equipment for live stages. That's why in early performances videos, you'll see the members performing with nothing in their ears. Eventually, the members scraped together money for 2 wired earphones, which were given to main vocalists DK and Seungkwan. Despite everything, they never complained. They did not play the underdog card. They did not use their hardships as a branding strategy. They just kept showing up, with energy, humility, and fierce determination. They were kids, many of them still in high school, but they carried themselves like pros. Radio shows, music shows, fan signs. Wherever they went, they showed up with a smile. They didn't have a lot, but they had each other in this dream. And with this same energy, they marched straight into their very first comeback. Almost 4 months after their debut, 17 came back with their second mini-album, Boys B. The album featured 5 new tracks and was led by the title song Manse, which in Korean means hooray. The song tells the story of a boy, well, 13 boys, falling hopelessly in love with a classmate. They act like lovesick puppies, stumbling through their feelings with charm, awkwardness, and a touch of chaos. The Manse music video was colorful, quirky, and unapologetically youthful. The title, Boys Be Fit perfectly. It was about boys being boys, or more precisely, 13 teenagers being teenagers. Dramatic, silly, emotional, and romantic in the most embarrassing ways. Because, let's be honest, young love is just that, making a fool of yourself to get someone's attention, whether you mean to or not. The choreography was clever, theatrical, and full of movement. This was the birth of 17's reputation as the theater kids of K-pop. They didn't just dance, they acted out the lyrics. They used all 13 members to build dramatic, funny, and eye-catching formations.
Yeah, alright. Say the name, 17, yeah. 내 맘 때리는 gesture, 맛은 상상하지 100번. 볼 깨고 나서 매번 say I'm so stupid. 사람의 꽃이 피었습니다. 너라는 꽃을 바라보니까 들렀다 놨다 하지 맙시다. 애가 타니까 보니까 너는 네 너띠 너무 잔디 밭에 제대로 된 엉일장 내 눈에는 나를 봐줘 my lady 자꾸 뭐해 내 집 앞이야 잠깐 나올래 아무리 바빠도 너를 챙겨 어디를 가도 널 지킬 거야 신기민이 부드러운 손에 깍지도 살며시 꺼볼래 인간 소녀야 지금부터 널 내 거라고 부를 거야 수줍어도 수줍만큼 이제부터 나를 봐줘 my lady 나를 볼 때는
Just 4 months after their debut, 17 hit #1 on Billboard's World Albums chart with Boys B.E., staying on the chart for an incredible 11 weeks. They also reached number 5 on Billboard's World Digital Songs chart with Mansai, a massive achievement considering they were still rookies competing with power groups like EXO and BTS, who had already been established in the industry for years. Sales reflected their rise. 14,604 copies sold in the first week, and over 38,000 copies by the end of the first month, nearly double their debut numbers. And then, in November 2015, just 6 months after debut, 17 held their first fan meeting in Seoul. Over 2,000 Karats gathered to see them up close. It wasn't a stadium yet, but it was the start of something big.
Hong Kong brimmed with excitement as K-pop fans cheered at the sight of their favorite performers at MAMA, a huge event which is now in its 16th year.
The MAMA Awards are one of the most prestigious events in the Asian music industry, with a legacy dating back to 1999. Held in cities across Asia like Seoul, Hong Kong, Japan, Singapore, and Vietnam, MAMA brings together the biggest names of the industry for a night of unforgettable performances and career-defining recognition. Among the most coveted titles are the Daesung's Artist of the Year, Song of the Year, and Album of the Year. Winning a Daesung can catapult a group's career to new heights, attracting global attention and solidifying their place in K-pop history. On December 2nd, 2015, the rookie group 17 was invited to attend the MAMA Awards in Hong Kong. It was their very first time at such a massive event. Nervous, but excited, they were there to witness the legends they had admired for so long, and to perform in front of the world for the very first time. They took the stage with Man Say, delivering a performance packed with their signature energy, synchronized choreography, and live vocals. It was 17 through and through, passionate, vibrant, and unforgettable. They also shared the stage with fellow rookies Monsta X, marking the beginning of one of K-pop's most iconic and enduring friendships. That night, 17 was nominated for 2 major awards, Best New Male Artist and Artist of the Year. But as the ceremony came to an end, they returned home empty-handed. It was a bittersweet moment, one filled with pride, but also a touch of disappointment. Yet rather than bringing them down, it only fueled their determination. They knew this was just the beginning, and they promised themselves, one day, they'd come back to the Mamas, not just as guests, but as winners. In December of 2015, 17 released their very first collaboration track, Q&A, featuring S.Coups, Woozi, and Vernon, alongside South Korean-American singer-songwriter Ailee. Ailee, who had previously appeared as a judge on 17 Project, shared how close she was to Woozi and S.Coups, having trained with them back in 2012. Between December 24th and 26th, 17 held their very first solo concerts titled Boys Wish in Seoul. Over the span of 4 shows, they performed for nearly 3,200 fans, each concert packed with energy, heart, and the dreams of 13 boys who had spent years preparing for this moment. They ended 2015, their debut year, not with flashy awards or chart-topping hits, but with something far more powerful. A rapidly growing fan base, industry respect, and a rock-solid bond as a group. It was a humble beginning, but it was also the spark of a group that would go on to redefine what it means to be a K-pop idol. This was only the beginning.